Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, maybe? How are we doing today, everybody? How are we doing? Everybody good today? Yes? Well, let me know if there's too much, like, background noise from my heater. It's extremely cold in my office today. And so I have like a little heater on my table blowing air, but it's like I don't think it'll get on the microphone. I just want to make sure it's not a problem. Okay, cool. Because it is absolutely freezing in here for some reason. It's well, I mean not for some reason. It's like 12 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so that's like -8 or whatever, -7. And it's cold on these windows. These windows here are cold for sure. Sounds okay? Okay, good. I turned it up a little bit as well, so, you know, all the audio should be good. Okay. Cool, well, welcome to everybody. I'm glad to see you all here today. Yeah. There's a few things I want to mention. Wait for people to get in here. In the meantime, while you're here, please make sure to like, share, retweet, like, you know, all the things you can do to keep spreading the stream around. It really means a lot to me, you know, when you all participate in helping and we keep building this community. I think it means certainly an awful lot to me, the support from you guys. Nice. Sorry, one sec. Cool. So thank you. No random mention of Maguire. Well, we are going to talk about the potential squad for Arsenal, so we will talk about Maguire. We will be talking about Maguire because he's very likely to be in the squad in the lineup for the game against Arsenal. So we will be doing that as well. We'll be doing the viewer vote. Let me actually make sure I mention that as well on the tweet. Yes. All right. Cool. That is hilarious. Anyway, what the hell? Do the guys at Stretford Paddock actually have the do the guys at Stretford Paddock actually have the guy from Trailer Park Boys on there? Is that like a real thing? I was just tweeting, so I just noticed that. Is that like a real thing? That is absolutely hilarious. That's awesome. That's so funny. That is too funny. I'll have to watch that after this. Do you like my mug? I've had it for a while. I think I displayed it yesterday, but we'll watch that later. That is too funny. I absolutely have no idea what the hell the the context of that would be. So yeah, fair enough. Or is it like an actor? If it's an actor, then that's cool. Like if it's an actor, then, you know, like, well, I mean, he is an actor, but if it's like an actor playing the character, then that's funny too. Again, bubbles. That is too funny. All right, yeah, that makes. I mean, that is absolutely hilarious to me. Yeah, the fearmonger emoji, all that. A couple of little housekeeping things I want to mention. Two things that are in the works. Number one is this. Starting next week, I think I'm going to do it on Monday or Tuesday. Starting next week on Monday or Tuesday on the Watch Along website, there's a new thing that they're releasing that I will have access to. Only a few people will. And it'll be used as a part of like being able to review matches. Those streams and videos that I make for this specifically on there will not come to YouTube. Okay, they will not be uploaded on YouTube because they cannot. Okay, because this feature that they have is really exclusive to this platform. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I don't think there's anywhere else on the internet that you can do what I'm about to be able to do there. In terms of like reviewing and looking at football matches and things like that. It's unbelievable. And yeah, come join because it's really awesome. It's so cool that they were able to build this out. The link is below. It's big up. It's where I do my watch alongs. But this specific thing that I can do is so cool. Like, it's just so cool. I've never seen anything like it. It makes it so I can practically do things like that you see on Sky Sports and these places when they're talking about matches and stuff and reviewing them. And it's awesome. And you know, just because of the way that it works, remember that website does not have ads, things like that on it. So, you know, I can't show you on here, but you will see it there. And when I do it, I'm going to do it like a tester on Tuesday. And then on Friday, a full review of Southampton on there. And it's so cool. It's mind-blowing how cool it is. So, you know, I would just want to get as much of the audience here over to at least those if you want, even if you don't want to watch like watch-alongs and stuff, you know, then you can do that. You should be able to sign up on Big Up very easily now. You don't even have to sign up to join, to watch. You don't even have to sign up to watch. And it will send out an email notification if you're subscribed to me there, but you don't even have to sign up to watch. You can just watch without signing in. You just have to sign up to participate. But yeah, as many people as possible from my regular YouTube audience going over there would be great, because it is such a cool platform. It's so unique, and I do want to help them grow. That simple. But anyway, that's cool. The other thing that I want to do, you know, years ago, we used to get a lot of the academy stuff in the States. Like, we used to be able to watch Barcelona. Hey, Barcelona. Okay, that's interesting. We'll come back to that on Rashford there. We will come back to that on Rashford there, because I told you guys that Barcelona. I told you guys Barcelona and Rashford was a link. I told you that in the beginning. He had previously been approached by them, and yeah, I told you that. And now they've joined the race. That is very, very, very interesting. Barcelona are broke, but Barcelona are broke. However, we've had interest in some of the players that they have that would be youth players. A swap has potential with Barcelona. Now, a swap is not a swap, okay? If they sell Ronald Araujo to Juventus for one, Barcelona, but if they sell Araujo away, but they could also sell a player like, you take Fermin Lopez, right? Let's say they loan him to us. There's a fee. They have academy players. There's different ways that this could be organized where they could have the money. To pay for Rashford, and it's not De Jong, because we can't afford that. But point is that we get profit because of Rashford, they get profit. So you have to think about it this way. Let's say we both sold. Let's say we sold an academy player for 40, they sold an academy player for 40. Here's what happens, right? We gain 40 million profit. It only costs us 8 million a year. It's the same on their side. They get 40 million profit. It only costs 8 million a year. So they're up 32 million on that. That's how they could afford to do it if they swap and transfer academy players. Glenn, thank you for gifting 5 more memberships to the community. I really appreciate that. I really do. That is so awesome. Thank you very much. James laughing at all those people who said no one want Rashford. I told you a lot of clubs are interested in Rashford in England, in Italy, and elsewhere. But Barcelona, that is a really, really interested one that they started this discussion, because they nearly signed him 2 years ago. I told you that they wanted to sign him. They've been interested for a long time. It's his preferred destination. If Barcelona make a deal for him, he would work it out to go there. That would be his preferred by far over anywhere else. That would be preferred, but they would need to sell in order to make something like that happen. But that could open opportunities for us. Yeah, if it's Balde, you know, Diao, is that the right player? Is it Balde? Is that the right one? Well, anyway, maybe it's not Balde Diao. Maybe I'm thinking of a different player, aren't I? But anyway, yeah, Balde, the left back that they have, that could be an option. Fermin Lopez, there's potentially other options in this case, but yeah. And Fermin Lopez is someone that we had interest in before. Yeah, Balde, the left back. Keita Balde, right? Yes, that's the one. Yeah, I mean, if we wanted to go for Ronaldo Araujo as well, his injuries are questionable to me. But anyway, regardless, there's ways to make this work. That is an interesting one we have to keep an eye on, because that has been my hope has been that they would come in for him, because one, I think it's a great landing spot for him. I think he'd do really well there. And two, I think they've had interest. And three, they've players we might want. And that could open up a deal for summer as well for players. So, yeah, we need, this is a good sign. But remember, I told you, there's a lot of clubs interested. And I specifically mentioned Barcelona at the start of all of this, that they would be someone where he would like to go, and that had interest in him in the past. So it's good to see that it's kind of coming forward. Zorro Bicampione, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community. I really appreciate that as well. Oh, you guys keep doing this. It's amazing. I mean, wow. I really appreciate that, you guys. Thank you so much. Definitely. You know, I mean, wow. Really, thank you. I'm feeling like a Twitch streamer these days. Oh, you got gifted one and just want to repay. I appreciate that. I mean, it's an awesome community of people we have here. I love hanging out with you guys. It means a lot. Yeah, Barcelona would be a good place, but more competition is better deals, all of that. So, thank you. Yeah, really do. Thank you all. And it's awesome. Again, just, I don't know what to say. Thank you guys. I mean, yeah, appreciate it so much. Really. So the other thing, I was going to mention something else, then I'll get back to this news, because this is starting to get very interesting, is the academy. It used to be you could watch a lot of the youth games on the academy in the US on MUTV, you know, and I used to watch a lot of them, you know, back in the day when there was like Garner and Chong and all of these guys coming through. I used to watch a lot of it and be more up to date on it. You don't get academy games anymore, and that's unfortunately part of the problem. You know, I don't get a lot of the academy stuff now, so I try to keep up on other people's content on this, and I can't even watch it anymore because they're not on MUTV in the US 90% of the time. I mean, I don't know if they're broadcast over there at all. I just know that we've been getting the ability to watch the academy has gotten a lot worse over the last 5 years, which sucks, you know. And when Ahmad first joined and he was playing with Hannibal over there, and there was a lot of fun matches to watch, it's a lot harder now. Patreon is $2 per month, Mark, or £2 or whatever it is in your local currency. But it's really hard to do that, and you know, and that kind of sucks, because I like to keep it. They don't show it anymore on MUTV there either, do they? Right. So that kind of sucks. Anyways, so I do want to find a way to have more academy stuff too, so we at least know how, you know, what's happening. And there's a few good accounts out there. And there's one academy, there's a couple of accounts, and one of the bigger ones on there I've spoken with and invited him to come on to do something, so where maybe on a weekly basis we do a little academy show as well, where I can ask him what's happening on the academy side of it, and he can answer and give us questions and interview on here, and you know, for me, but for you guys as well, to keep up, and we can do like kind of a weekly show. I know it's smart, you know, you know, Paddock, I know, did that a long time ago. They started that, you know, academy review type of thing, and it was a really good thing. And I wanted to have something like that. So work on something like that as well. So to come, and I think that would be pretty cool to add as just an extra kind of content, to do like, you know, 30-40 minute academy show a week. You know, how's it going? What are the players that are impressing? What's the latest on all of them? You know, what players do you think are going to be in the first team soon? You know, all the things we want to know throughout the year that would help, you know, us all stay a little bit more informed on the academy. On my channel, I want to have something, and so, you know, I'm working on setting something up there. All right, let's go back to this. Yeah, I mean, these are like a bunch of tier 1 Barcelona guys, as well as Fabrizio, talking about this. What do they say? So he says, Mateo Moreto, who's obviously Moreto. confirmed. Transfer with an option to buy. Cool. Okay. That would be amazing. I mean, that would be... I'd be over the moon. As someone who really, really likes Rashford as well, I think that would be a wonderful spot for him to land. And I think it would be good for everybody. And again, as I said, in the summer, if that were to happen, then it could be... it could open the door to some players that we want. You know, it could open the door to some players that we want. I think it'd be a good fit for Rashford. I think it'd be wonderful. And I think it would be a club that could potentially afford him and that has potential players that could swap with us. Okay, that's where they could afford that kind of deal. They have players that could work with us, and that's cool. So very exciting. No, look, I understand they can't register him right this moment. They have to make space, but he would play more centrally under Hansi Flick there at Barcelona, and he could do very well. And I imagine he would. He nearly joined them. I think he regrets not joining them a few years ago because of how it's kind of gone since then. But they have players that they could swap. And again, I just want to explain the math on this. Just for example, if we sold them Rashford for 40 and they sold us Fermin Lopez for 40, they'd be able to afford him. They'd be able to register him. They'd be able to do whatever. That's how amortizations and transfers work, okay? So, yeah, it's always a swap is always we buy, they buy. You know, it would work in that case. Now, if it's just a loan in the short term, you know, they'll probably be able to afford it if they sell Araujo or if they have some other way of clearing wages, you know, or sending some players, you know, even again, loaning a player to us, maybe. You never know. But that is how these amortizations and costs work. They would be able to do something. So that one's really, really interesting. That was one of the major clubs that I'd heard had long had an interest in him and were considering coming in. So that just adds more, you know, that adds more to this whole situation. And gives more routes for Rashford, which I think is a positive. I think that's fantastic. So that's good. We'll have to keep a close eye on all of that. But AC Milan is still, I think, a very, very valid option as well. But this is just more. And the more, the better. We need moving players on, certainly, in order to do deals on our end. Oh, no, my camera doing that thing again. We need players out to move, to get players in on our side. Obviously, it's a simple... It's not like a one-in, one-out type of thing. It's all about the formulas, the costs, things like that. If we want to make permanent signings, yes. Again, one of the biggest factors in permanent signings, however, is can they... Like, I want to explain something that I explained in summer as well. That's really important. There's two major factors in terms of transfers. There's number one, can we afford it from a PSR standpoint, right? The second factor is this. You remember in summer, we talked about this a lot. It's the reason we didn't end up with Gerard Braithwaite. No matter what they want, they still are going to say, we have a valuation on this player. Even if he's our top choice, we're not going to pay above that. The problem in January you have is a lot of clubs will ask for above that valuation. So it's not, you know, we won't buy for the sake of buying and overspend. That is day one, you know, Ineos's strategy with this when looking at the poor transfers that we've done in the past. We will not overspend even on players that are our top targets, right? Ugarte, we ended up playing what we wanted. De Ligt, Mazraoui, ZIrkzee, they were all within very reasonable fees. Yoro, we were willing to go pretty high for because of the talent that we see that he is, but we weren't willing to go as high for Gerard Braithwaite, right? Because we have these valuations for players and we're not going to go over them. And the problem we're seeing with some of the players, which is ordinary for January, is that they're just going to cost too much. Right, Marmoush was going to go to Forge for 30 million. He's 80 million. So maybe it'll work out for City, right? It might. I know a lot of people rate Marmoush. That also makes me pretty wary. But at the same time, if he flops, then they're in huge trouble again because of spending that big a fee on him. Now, maybe they see him as that value. We'll see if they're correct about it or not. But point being is this note on paying valuations. It's like, you know, you take Anthony. If we valued him at 30, we paid 80. they don't want to do that. If we'd bought Anthony at 30 and he only had 15, 12 million left on his amortization now, you'd be easy to move him on. And that would be okay. So it's the same with all transfers that we're doing. We don't want to do, we don't want to make those mistakes, right? We don't want to make those big mistakes. Yeah. So cool. All right, that's fantastic. So anyway, that if they can move, yeah, it just, they don't want to make those mistakes too. So yes, we have to sell to buy for PSR, but it is also, about making sure that the players we want, like if we don't want to pay 60 million for Kirkes or Mendes because we may not value them at that level. But we also may not want to buy an alternative that's not good enough just because the price is right. You know what I'm saying? So there is that balance there. And if we don't make a deal in January, that's why. If we don't make a significant transfer in January, that is that factor as well. Well, we bought Diego Leon. We bought Diego Leon. And he should be arriving shortly to sign. So we've identified some young players. We've bought Diego Leon. Yeah, so we're doing that. Now, on a couple of other points, yes, Kolo Muani, it seems like we're moving forward on looking at a loan for that. It seems like at the moment that's the most realistic signing. That being said, I definitely want to keep an eye on this whole Barcelona situation because it may be just selling Araujo is what they're doing in order to afford this, but maybe there's something that we could take. Maybe there's something that we could take back. Yeah, maybe there's something that we could take back in this case. It's worth keeping an eye on that from Barcelona. That could give us a different option. It could give us certainly a different option there if they decide to offer us something, and that could change the landscape a little bit. Wilcox is also a part of finding talent and all of that as well. Certainly, he's heavily involved in all of that. Joshua ZIrkzee doesn't want to leave. If you recall, it was really funny because 2 months ago, a story came out that ZIrkzee was already looking at leaving, and I told you that was not the case. It's not the case. And he doesn't want to leave. That was before kind of the incident, but it's also the same since the incident. A couple other little things that I have here that I wanted to put. What was I trying to say here? Dang it. There was a couple little things I found out last night from conversations that are semi-relevant to us, maybe not. Number one, yeah, that from David Ornstein is essentially correct. We don't have to sell to get by. More money out helps us with money in. But we could make a move. We've already done little things, frankly. But look, I told you guys that when that Rashford was of interest to a lot of clubs around Europe, a lot of people kept, completely incorrectly talking about he's washed, this or that. But, right now, he's being pursued pretty heavily by a few of the biggest clubs in Italy, as well as, one of the biggest clubs in Barcelona and a few English clubs as well. So, it is what it is, you guys. I mean, it hasn't worked out right now at United, and I think a new first step is the right way, but there's a lot of clubs that would come for him. But anyway, a couple of little points. One, Osimhen. United are interested in him. But I can also tell you that Liverpool have been keeping eyes on Osimhen for summer, especially if they're going to be losing some of their forwards. Delap, we're interested in a striker. I can also say that Arsenal have checked in on him a little bit. One of the other interesting things is that Cunha, the Wolves player, obviously, with his new contract, and they're going to get relegated very likely, I believe. There's a relegation clause, and as far as I understand it, it's under 50 million. So if Wolves get relegated, which, let's see, right now they're in 17th. So it's close, right? It's tight. Them or Ipswich, probably. Although Everton just sacked Sean, you never know there. If they got relegated, he would be available at pretty decent, a pretty good fee. At a fee where probably 5 clubs would try to buy him, including United. But I don't think it's likely that they're going to get relegated at this point, but we will have to see. But that's just another little piece of note that I understand that he'd be available for under 50 million if they would be relegated. I believe that to be true, but yeah. What else do I have here? Before we get into talking about the match, anything? I think that's really all I wanted to do. Yeah. João Gomez. I mean, that's an interesting one that I like a lot, but yeah, anyway, I mean, it seems like we're getting somewhere with the Rashford situation. ZIrkzee wants to stay. Kolo Muani we could still be moving forward for. I still think that there may be other options out there for us, but yeah, for the right price is always so important. So yeah, a lot of options here. What else did I want to say? The women's team signed a goalkeeper, so they've made a signing. They've put some work in January. That's good. Am I saying we won't do anything? No, I'm not. It's just we still need offers, right? We still need offers for sure. We need offers. You know, is it true the news about Casemiro's departure? I don't think it's. I'm wary of that Saudi stuff because there was interest in him from Saudi, but from people I talk to, you get very interesting Saudi sources on all of this, right? There's a number of people I've spoken to who don't want, who say that they're not in for him from Saudi right now. That some of these clubs are not interested in signing him. So I think until we actually see some sort of offer, then yeah. Rashford Muani is so bad, why aren't we just keeping him in? Look, I can't disagree, but it's more a matter of Rashford doesn't want to stay at this point in time, and he wants a fresh start, and I think it's understandable why he wants a fresh start. I think it's understandable why he wants a fresh start. That's what I would say. I think it may be the right thing for him to get a fresh start as well. How are Barcelona signing Rashford when they're struggling to register Dani Olmo? So it's about the math, right? It's about the math. It really comes down to, let's say, if they. It depends. They obviously would need to move players out, right? They would need to move players out. Look, I think we'll get a forward in January, like on loan or something, but somebody that we want to bring back. You know, someone that we would potentially want to buy, right? Someone that we would potentially want to buy. Yes, we want more forwards in. So yes, I think we will make a replacement there should Rashford go for sure, and it would give us a good financial scope to do so, no doubt. I'm not sure it'll be permanent, but that's why I'm keeping my eyes on, you know, if there's something that would be offered by Barcelona. How Barcelona could do it is, again, say like, I think Dani almost been registered now, by the way. They did win their case, or at least temporarily won their case. But let's say that, again, Rashford costs over the 6-month period on loan, how do I use some even math here? 5 million, right? Well, if they clear 5 million in wages, they get it. If they sell Ronald Araujo for 30 million, they have more than enough for that. You know, if they do a swap deal, they have more than enough for that. So, you know, it's pretty easy. You just need outs. That's the simple answer. You just need outs, you know, for ins. You just need outs for ins. And part of the thing with this is that La Liga has some very complex rules because it's about their one-to-one rule, like getting back to one-to-one, where they're currently at the 1-to-1, which means that they can count all their profit and all of their income and things like that on an even basis. As long as they're on 1-to-1, then it's very easy for them to just clear 5 million to get Rashford in, for example. So that's one of those things. It's like there's these 1-to-1 rules and stuff like that. It's confusing, but as long as they're in that 1-to-1, then it's a little bit easier for them to sort it out. But it is really confusing. It is really confusing. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's some similarities from a PSR or FFP standpoint, I should say. But it is confusing and a little bit different at the same time. Okay. Who's a realistic option? Well, I don't know. Fermin Lopez is someone we've been interested in the past. So that's why I brought him up. You know, we obviously don't want to take something like Ansu Fati, who's been injured and stuff like that, but yeah, we would want to take the right players. There's no doubt about that. But again, on loan, just giving us some more options up, in the attack would be very, very good. So cool. All right, interesting stuff, and we're gonna have to see how this develops over the weekend, obviously. Yeah, we will have to see how this all develops over the weekend. So yeah, Furman would be pretty good as an 8-10. Yeah, I don't know if he wants to join or anything, but yes, I think he would be good as an 8-10. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, but again, it may be as simple as them selling, Araujo, right? It may be as simple as them selling Araujo, right? That might be all the funds that they need. So we'll see what happens, but it's all intriguing. I'm very I don't know. I'm very interested in all of this. Very interested in what happens, and I think it's up in the air, but Barcelona entering the race for him can only be a good thing for everybody. It could only be a good thing for everybody, because there are players we might want from there, and it would, at the very least, add more competition, and competition is a good thing in terms of getting these things done. So I very, very interested, and I think that we've seen that Barcelona will do crazy things, Barcelona will do crazy things to get deals done. So we've got to keep an eye on that. And it would be, again, a good move for him. So we'll have to see. I don't know if we'll get Kolo Muani. I don't know who we'll get as a replacement. I don't know yet, but once Rashford moves, I think it could speed up. And we could move things forward a little bit more, and maybe there's another option at Barcelona. So we will find out, because right now we haven't done anything in terms of made an offer to sign anybody or anything like that. We just have our options. So let's wait and see. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But we need some players out. We want to make sure we get the best option. The other thing that would be silly, right, is let's say we rushed into Kolo Muani, and then we do move Rashford out, and we have more financial wherewithal. Well, that might change what we want to do in the market, rather than if we've already tied up some of our money in Kolo Muani, it might change what we want, Kolo Muani might be like something we could do if we don't get anything done, if we don't get any outs, where we might be able to get better options if we get other moves. And so we really do have to wait on this, right? Like, if we can get somebody permanent in, let's say, because we moved Rashford as well, then, there's so many things to consider in all of this that are up in the air. And that's why they've really been focused on trying to move players out first and getting that in before they actually pull the trigger on doing anything, right? So it's really about getting offers and moving players out. That is still the focus. And until we see that happening, then it's hard to say what we're going to do on the ins yet. So let's keep an eye on this. I'm focused more on the outs and on the Rashford saga, because I think by early mid next week we'll probably kind of get a better idea of what's happening with him and where he's going to go. Okay, let's get to our vote. Let's get to our vote for the weekend. I know it's not a Premier League match, but it's our only game this weekend, so I'd like to do our vote for this. I would like to do our vote for the FA Cup final. Not final. FA Cup against Arsenal. And see who we want. We can go essentially full strength, pretty much, which is nice for the most part because, you know, no new injuries, I think. You know, full strength in terms of healthy players, but no new injuries. We've got the week off. We shouldn't have to rotate. We can play strong. The FA Cup, again, is a route into Europe, as we know from this season, so it would be a good idea to do it. So, yeah, let's start with the most important one. Let's start with the most important one, which is we're just going to do Ahmad, right? We're just going to do Ahmad. We're not going to do position. We're doing the Ahmad poll, okay? We're doing the Ahmad poll. We're doing the Ahmad poll. You know, and I think that with some more training, Mazraoui did way better at right wing back in the last game, by the way. You know, I would have, like, I still think Ahmad is a better right wing back, but Mazraoui did way better after we finally got some training in place and such. And God, our forward options are so limited. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, it helps that Mazraoui looked a lot better. It helps Mazraoui looked a lot better. Same 11 as Liverpool? I don't think so, because I think people would not want De Ligt potentially for Euro. De Ligt made some pretty big errors in that game, and I think Euro would be potentially the better player to start. So there's a few different there's a few potential changes. I also think Højlund had a pretty bad game, and each week we kind of swap back and forth Højlund or ZIrkzee in certain ways, right? Because Højlund was pretty poor. So I guess we'll see. All right, let's stick Ahmad at the 10. I can't help but feeling like, no, it's fair. It's fair. All right. Let's get right into it then. Ahmad with his new contract. Let's get right into the striker debate here then, because I'm still not sure who's the right guy. I'm completely unconvinced. I don't think it's as clear that it should be Højlund. The hold-up play was really poor against Liverpool. We could have done a lot better. ZIrkzee's obviously had some terrible games too. It's like neither one has convinced me in the slightest at this point. I'd probably give it to ZIrkzee. I'd probably give it to ZIrkzee for Sunday, just because I think it'll help us keep the ball a little bit more. And I don't think that Højlund's going to win battles against Saliba. So, you know, I don't think Højlund's going to be able to run by Saliba. So I think the retention will be more important. I also think ZIrkzee's height maybe on set pieces might be a factor. I don't know. But I'm not convinced of either. I don't think there's a right answer. I'm influencing, obviously. I'm just giving my opinion, you know, on ZIrkzee. But Højlund will probably win. I'm not positive. Yeah, we need a striker, though, because neither one is convincing. I don't know what... there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer here. But I'll say this: Højlund was bad in the cup against bad Tottenham defenders too. So I don't know. Maybe ZIrkzee. I don't know. But ZIrkzee got pulled. Yeah. There's no right answer here. They've both been bad. I would like to say that they were both good, but they're both bad right now. And I hope they do better. I hope that they improve. I really do. I hope that they improve. I'll put Rashford in the votes because technically I think he's going to be available for selection. But yeah. All right. So Højlund's going to win this one. Oh, wait. Let me pull this. I guess I've already kind of pulled it, but... Oops. I mean, Bruno's going to win this one, right? After his last performance, there's no chance that it's not Bruno. If he can put in another game like that, Bruno is an unquestionable starter, right? Bruno is the guy. I mean, 1,000,000%. Bruno is the guy. If he can put in a performance like that, then there's no doubt in my mind, you know? I've been a huge critic of Bruno, but he said himself that was his first good game in ages. So I don't think, I acknowledge when he plays well and criticize when he plays bad, and it's been shit until that game. It was really good. So let's see. Of course I was excited about the arrival of Højlund and ZIrkzee. I can get behind any signing. And be excited about it. Of course I'll always be, but I was surprised, really surprised when we bought Højlund how much money it costs, because I'd been hearing, he'd be a good option, but for 30-40 million. And so I'm thinking like Højlund would come in not as a nailed on needs to start at 30-40 million, but when they paid 70, I was like, holy shit, we've done it again. It'll be interesting what happens when a player's allowed to play themselves into form. All right, so Bruno's the obvious winner here, as expected. No doubt there. Left back, left wing back. I mean, it's gonna be Dallo. It's gotta be Dallo, right? I mean, he actually had a good game, but should we go? I'll put Mazraoui in case you guys want to have Mazraoui on the left and Dallo on the right. I could put Lissandro out there, though I think that would be a huge mistake as well. But I think it should be Dallo. No Saka this time, right? No Saka for Arsenal. So, a little bit of an easier job, though Dallo did well even with Salah on that side. Yeah, no Saka. No Saka playing for corners for 90 minutes, so we got a slight advantage. Luke Shaw, the England team player. Luke Shaw, TikTok star. Okay, Dallas gonna win that one. The midfield, the midfield. I don't think we have to question it. It's gonna be Kobe Ugarte, midfield. Unquestionable at this point. I don't care if he did it wasn't a TikTok. I still don't understand the outrage, personally. Was he not supposed to have like a New Year's Eve dinner with friends or something? I don't get it. Can somebody explain to me? I still don't understand that stuff. I still don't understand how much players get heat for little things outside of like what I don't understand. I think it's funny, but like what's the big deal? Are they supposed to like be cooped up in their room when they're not rehabbing? I don't understand. I truly don't. I don't get it. Maybe I'm in the wrong here. I just actually don't understand why people get so bent out of shape about these things. Like, I really don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I understand social media stuff. I have a huge disagreement with social media being used like in the locker rooms and stuff like that. But like, someone posts something in their personal life, like, so what? Like, what does it matter? Like, obviously the criticism is when they're not playing well, but it has nothing to do with their social media post, right? Like, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. I don't really get that. I mean, it is what it is. All right, Kabi and Ugarte. It is. People, they keep saying his name as what is it? Uarte, but I don't know. I'm not gonna start pronouncing it that way. This is gonna be Maz. All right. I don't know who even else is available on that side. Anthony? Sit in a room and focus on fixing your leg. I wish that worked. The power, just sit in a room and just like stare at your leg, like work. Uarte. I can't get on board with that pronunciation. I cannot get on board. Anthony is a shout, but Mazraoui had a good game. I think deserves to play here. I compel this leg to heal. Yeah. All right, so at center back, it gets a little bit tricky. I might want to do pairings. I'm going to do pairings of 3 here. I think the first is the best, but... All right, let's try this. Think through these answers before you click, okay? Because Maguire is going to play center back, and anybody who votes for the 4th option is a fool. But I think it should be A or B. I think it should be A or B. Lissandro, Maguire, Euro, or De Ligt, Maguire, Euro. I think Euro certainly should play. He's been very good when he's played. Lissandro and De Ligt are the 2 that have been making errors more commonly, I would say, in recent times. Yeah. Yeah. But I think Maguire and Euro both should start. I think Maguire and both should start. You voted D just to spite me? Shame. Shame. De Ligt and Euro have aerial threat. Good call against Arsenal. De Ligt, Maguire, Euro is probably our best aerial defenders. Sure. Set pieces would be a concern with Lissandro. There's no doubt about that. But A or B are both correct to me. The only wrong answer is D. So the 14% of you, shame. Letting your Maguire hatred blind you from the truth. Three Maguires. That might be our best back line right now if we had 3 Maguires. Maguire was twice as fast as Lissandro on that break against Newcastle. You voted A, but you think B may be your choice? Interesting. I mean, if Maguire's not mobile enough, then Lissandro isn't, because Maguire's much faster than him. You can see that against Newcastle. He nearly caught Isak while Lissandro was miles off the pace. You know, Euro's really our only athletic center back. Like, if we look at it in that way, like covering ground, distance, we saw that tackle against Nunez. Ooh, absolutely world class. Absolutely world class. Maguire knew it was offside. He didn't want to get everybody's hopes up. How are you saying Maguire's not faster than Lissandro? Just watch it against Isak, against Newcastle. You got a race on open ground. Isak got behind Lissandro. They're both running back. Maguire's twice as fast as Lissandro. You literally got an in-game race that showed you that Maguire is faster than Lissandro, like by a significant margin. It's not even like a question. It's a fact now. You can go watch that moment again, and you will see. Yeah, he is faster. He just is faster. In that open space, he nearly caught up to Isak, which is quite impressive, actually. Anyway, Lissandro scored a great goal, though, so I understand. And his on-ball qualities are exceptional. And if he can be as aggressive and continue to attack, then I like that. Then that is meaningful. I don't think this is a wrong answer, because I think Lissandro and Maguire and Euro were all very good. Euro as a sub against Liverpool, so I don't think this is a wrong answer at all. Yeah, and Lissandro did really well, you know, in that game against Liverpool. Really did. One of the things. So this is the team you guys are voting for. That's fair. I think given everything, this is, you know, we have the same questions, right? Is this front going to perform? Is Dallo going to perform? And do we have any issues around here? But I still like this kind of core right here. one of the things that was really good to see that definitely with training made a difference was how high up these players got, right? Where these wingers were all the way up there, and then even with that, we were getting those extra man penetrative runs even from here. Like this could come from Kavi, it could come from Lissandro, but those extra man runs, boom, in behind, we're getting those overloads, we were getting those overloads. That we could see was a really big improvement, even just from a little bit of training, that we were doing that the center backs, that we were getting really tight, where we were making the field small in the press, and we were able to really overload them, pin them back, so there's no threat back here by having this player step up, so they have to be watched. Proper coverage from the midfield helps that. It's all organization. If we can do that more, it's this player doing it or it's this player doing it, making that extra man run to make that, that 3-on-2. We did that time and time again on the left side. It made a big, big difference. So, getting these fullbacks high to pin and that allowing the outside center backs to step up, big, big improvement in the way that we played against Liverpool. So hopefully we can keep doing that, because that's a huge principle of Amarim's game. The other thing we did that was really important, and it depends where you are, what this is going to look like. The other thing we did that was really important was these guys did not go off chasing in the press, right? They stayed central. They stayed in this zone. So they stayed in here, and they either dropped back if we had to settle into defense, right? They either dropped back but stayed narrow. They did not run chasing off, pressing like crazy out wide. Defending the middle was a really big part of Amarim's strategy. And ideally, when you have more of the ball, it looks a little bit more like this. Even when you're kind of doing a block, it's only when you get forced deep that they end up being back in a 5 here, but or a 4 here rather. But really, you want them still staying in these central areas. Block the middle. You're okay with the ball being out here. You really are. And that difference defending was a lot better. If you get pushed back deep, you can drop into a 5-4-1. He doesn't actually like to do that. For the most part, he likes to keep the defending in this kind of 3-4-2-1 pattern. And the shape against Liverpool was almost fully that 3-4-2-1. It was quite impressive to see here. Hold on, I want to just pull it up really quick. We did it a lot better in that game. I mean, miles and miles better. The organization was impressive. It was really, really good. Here, I just want to show this because I was like, oh wow, we got the shape spot on. Look at this. Look at the shape. It's perfect. It's really a 3-4-2-1. They actually nailed it on the shape, right? And so that was cool. So, it means that these guys can get up, right, quicker, because they're not as deep on average. They're not sitting in the back 5, but they're getting up higher. These guys are staying more narrow, out of possession especially. And then, you're still having this to keep some space so you can get the ball into the middle a bit more. And then big deal was definitely the midfielders carrying the ball a lot. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I reckon we can get something. They've got a tough schedule, right? Because they've got Tottenham in the league on Wednesday, is it? They have Tottenham in the league, and they're chasing the title still, right? And we've seen Arsenal in other competitions. They're already losing to Newcastle in a cup. They've been shit in other competitions under Arteta while they're chasing the league. They have no Saka. They've got to rotate. They've got a big game midweek against Tottenham, North London Derby, obviously, right? So they've got a big schedule. I could see them kind of not throw, but they've been like this, where the pressure gets on in the league and they bottle the other competitions quite heavily. So I reckon there's something to be said for us in this game. I reckon we could win this one. I think we played pretty well against them last time, but if we played as good as we did against Liverpool, then we'll win. I think we deserve to win anyway in that game. So, all right, let's wrap it up with a summary. Number 1, Barcelona in for Marcus Rashford has been potentially his preferred overall destination in all of Europe for some time. They were in for him before. That's when I was saying that they were definitely going to check on and could definitely be interested in. And now he's yeah. Well, Dwayne, his brother, has been going around obviously as his agent to different clubs to have these discussions, and now Barcelona are in for him. That could be a big help, and it could be a win for absolutely everybody if he gets to go where he wants to go. I would be so happy for him, and it would be good for everybody, and potentially could open the door for different signings. Kolo Muani, the interest is still there, but United need to make a decision, I think, based on outs as to what they want to do. Kolo Muani is potentially something they could do without selling anybody, but maybe there's better options if they do move some players on, and the focus first is on getting as much money in as possible, which is not going quickly, but is certainly a part of the formula here. ZIrkzee wants to stay. He will stay during this window. The major outs to be looking at right now are Rashford and Casemiro and Antony. Betis were interested, but they loaned out Asani Diao, so maybe they could afford him now. Maybe he'd be interested in that. You know, he wasn't interested in going to Greece, but so that's one to keep an eye on. But yeah, I think that United making it work for him to go to Barcelona, if that's where he wants to go, would be very good. I think it'd be the right thing to do as well and make it all work. But establishing a good relationship with Barcelona would be very good too, because again, they potentially have players that we could want now and in summer that could potentially make a permanent deal work in both directions. Eriksen, I believe, would go if an offer comes from him. I just haven't heard anything on that. But yeah, lots in the air. We need some offers. We need some sales. We need some outs to start pumping through the pipeline here. But otherwise, the other thing, as I mentioned, is next week there'll be some really special streams on Big Up on my watch along place that will only be there. I cannot bring them to YouTube. I will keep doing all my normal content, of course, but this would be an addition, and I think it would be really cool if you come join those and watch. It would mean a lot, but it's also awesome. I mean, it's so cool, and anyway, it'll be a lot of. It's really cool to see. There's nowhere else we can do it. It'll be useful now as this thing develops. It'll be useful in summer for reviewing players, all that kind of stuff. So I'm hopeful to find it to be, you know, something really good to use in the long term. And then hopefully starting next week, potentially some more, you know, adding some academy content to the channel. So thank you all for supporting me and the stream and the community and being a part of here. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the subscribes. Thank you for the gifts of membership to a lot of people. I appreciate you all. Again, I'm also getting my home office set up so I can do some early morning weekend ones before the family are up, because I'm always up before everybody else anyway, and do some of that stuff a little bit easier on certain days. And a big thank you again to a guy, I'll shout out his company once I get it, that is making me like a wood pop cut wall art thing to stick up in my office there. Thank you to him again as well. But yes, have a good one, everybody. Appreciate you all very much. Thank you again. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend if I don't see you. And then I will, at worst, see you later. Thank you all.